Good morning. I hope everyone is doing okay. And today we're going to talk about you don't choose the storm. So we'll be in First Samuel chapter 1 today. And and we going to once again it's you don't get to choose your storm. So a lot of us we come to a place in this season that we have went through a lot of things financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and yet for many of us, we still don't get the revelation of why these things are happening to us. But in going through, we try to choose what is or what isn't God's will. We tell people God wouldn't do that. That ain't God. I remember talking to somebody, they were going through some, and they saying, well, God won't put you in no position to be this and be that. You don't read the Bible, do you? God put the three Hebrew boys in the furnace. He put what's the name in a lion's den. He put the children of Israel up against a ocean that they didn't know how they were gonna get past. So we can't say what position God would never put us in because the Bible tells us who knows the mind of God that we may instruct him. So when you say God wouldn't do that, you don't know what God would do. All you got to know is that you believe in God. And one of the words he gave me for 2023, I said, whatever you love, be prepared to lose it. And for many of us, we can't grasp we can't get our minds around why would God take something we love? It's not necessarily God taking something you love. He trying to see, do you love that or whatever he is more than you love him? That's all he did to what's the name? Abram sacrificing Isaac. He had to search his heart and say, okay, will he do what I tell him to do, or will he wrestle with what I tell him to do? And so for a lot of us, we want to choose the storm that is and is not God. Because for some of us, the relationship we brag about, I'm seeing more and more, they really don't have it. See, we learned church. And church taught, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was listening to him talking about preaching. And he said, yeah, I ain't used my inflections and this and that. See, I learned that when I was in church. The leader came to me. She said, yeah, Deidre, I'm going to have to teach you how to work the people. And even my spirit didn't say, right, I said, work the people. I knew then. You can teach people how to preach and talk God light, but if the power ain't in them, it ain't in them. So now they have to make like they know what they talking about. So here we in First Samuel chapter 1. Familiar. Hannah and Peninnah, you know. We're going to talk about her storm. So it says, now there was a certain man of Ramoth Menzophim, that word, y'all know, right, honey, of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jorham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuphu, and an Ephraite. And he had two wives. The names of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priests of the Lord, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. See, now we see that sometimes let's take chapter 1. Notice how the writer of this book, he went into telling us that he was a certain man, but his name was Elkanah, and he was the son of this man, the son of this man. Certain things God puts in your generation, not necessarily to destroy you, but he wants you to destroy it. So now you got to look at the storm that you're going through. Is this a generational curse? Is this generational bondage? Or is this just a generational demon? See, a lot of us don't want to face our demons. A lot of us don't want to face that our family has issues. A lot of us don't want to face that maybe our family wasn't no good before we found God. So now when you look at the storm you're going through, if you got a relationship with God, God, why I'm going through this? I stayed in the hood, and in the hood, I thought I lived good. But I can live better. So I had to sit down and say, well, God, why do I live like this? You know what God showed me? This why I try to tell y'all, make sure you have a relationship with God. So don't nobody question or make you question what God is telling you. All right? So I sat down. I didn't know too many people on my mom's side of the family, but I knew everybody on my dad's side of the family. Everybody on my dad's side of the family usually touched good money. My family didn't. I'm a mixture of the two. What that mean? Okay, I can't live like them. I got to think like my dad's side of the family to bring the wealth to mama's side of my family. So now my generation can live good. You got to have that spirit of wisdom and knowledge to understand why God sometimes put two families together. But you mad at baby daddy. You cussing baby mama out. You spitting on people's graves because you hate them. God can use whoever he want to get us on this earth so that we can accomplish his purpose. So it says he has two wives, one named Hannah, who had no children, and Peninnah, who had many children. The name Hannah in the Hebrew means favor or grace, which means even though Hannah had no children, she was still favored. What does Peninnah mean? Peninnah mean precious stone. What I'm trying to tell y'all, you think because you want children and you don't have children that you're not favored. You think because somebody got money and you ain't got no money that you're not favored. You trying to choose your storm. How do you choose your storm? Well, if God bless me with this money, I'll be able to do this, and that. If God give me a wife, I can do this and that and that. If God give me you don't choose your storm. Suppose God don't want you to get married. It ain't really nothing wrong with being a single parent. Hell, my mama raised 3 of us. And all of us turned out okay. We here. Now, you know what? I was talking to my brother about a month ago. And they know I always been about my dollar. Listen here, I used to pick up junk in a 73 Ford F100. And anybody that stayed in Evergreen Bottom know, before I got up at 5:30 in the morning, when 7 o'clock, when the junkyard open, they'll tell you I made $800 to $1,000 a day before 8 o'clock, just picking up scrap. So you can't tell me a man no more with money. I'm 53 now. I think my brother 55. And I was talking to him the other day, and he finally got a job. He got a promotion. He said, "Yeah." He said, "It's time for us to be men now." I heard him, but I was always getting my money. But he was in and out of job doing this and that. But watch this. Just because he didn't have no job, didn't know he would didn't mean he was favored. He wasn't favored. And so what y'all trying to do when y'all going through a trial, you talking to people who seem to be spiritual, and they telling you that ain't God. How you know what ain't God? I went to a period of time as God was calling me in the ministry, and then my mama here, she'll tell you, my sister will tell you, my brother said, he said, don't talk to your mama for 5 years. I went through a period of time, that went 5 years without talking to my mama. And every time I told somebody that God told me, that ain't God, that ain't God. That's why I try to teach my mentees, make sure you hear the voice of God. Because I don't know what God may tell you to do. And just because it don't make no sense to me, don't mean it ain't God. All right? So here in verse 3, it said he went up to sacrifice. And the two sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were there. See, we got to understand, just because you go to church, just because you paying tithes, just because you give an offering, that still don't mean you got a relationship with God. You know what that means? That means you stuck in a cycle. You just do it because you was taught to do it. Because we read somewhere, train up your child in the way they should go. When they get old, they don't depart. So what we do, we train our children to go to church, but we don't train them to get a relationship with God. And when you train children to go to church, but don't train children to get a relationship with God, all they know is church. They don't know God. And for many of us, all we know is church. We don't know God. But then when we see somebody who knows God, we got to talk like we know God, and you don't have a relationship with God that you said. Like I put on social media today, I said, God told me to tell you, he said, what's wrong with a lot of people? God told me this. He said, a lot of people talk a relationship that they don't even have with me. He said, I dare you to tell them to challenge me that if they got a relationship with me and anything they ask, I give it to them the same day. Except anything having to do with finances and material gain. One person came in my inbox. One person. And he said something. And he thought he didn't have the answer. I said, that's the answer I was looking for. Because see, when you look at your prayers, 99.9% of your prayer is based on how God can increase your life, give you more money, give you wealth. Don't nobody go to God. God, show me you in you. God, what's my mission on this earth? All y'all want, God, make me a millionaire. God, I need a husband. God, I need a wife. God, I need a car. God, I need peace. Why you want peace in God? When Christ, what did Christ say he came? Christ didn't come bring peace. Christ said he came to bring a sword. Why are you looking for peace? When the man you're supposed to believe in came to disturb your peace. I don't look for peace on this earth. You know why? Because it's always gonna be around. You know what I look for peace in? Operating in the things of God. So now I understand everything that's going on, but I don't let it disturb the peace of my mission. What I told y'all the other day, You can't let your pain disturb your ministry. Because when you take your focus off the pain, you forget your mission. Why you think the Bible was specific when he said Christ went through all these things and didn't say a mumbling word? Because he know if he took his mind off the mission, ooh, these stripes hurt, ooh, these nails hurt. He didn't say nothing. So you got to be able to take whatever coming with you. What y'all say, like something that goes off a duck back. It got to work. They talking about you, brother Hubbard, and girl, somebody said you did this. Okay. See, when you really in ministry, what people say around you don't matter unless you need the attention of the people. I don't need nobody's attention to do this. I say what I gotta say, do what I gotta do. I go on about my business. I see if y'all ever seen Brother Hubbard preach, do you ever hear me say, y'all ain't talking to me in here? Touch 3 people. You know why they do that? Because they need a reaction. People who speak from the spirit, they don't need no reaction. Read your Bible. You ain't said it, you ain't hear the apostle say, hey, y'all ain't talking back to me. Because when you preaching for the spirit and what you saying is truth, they want to take it all in. But see, they want a reaction. Because if they don't see no reaction, they don't think they preaching. That's why they up there, and the Lord, and if you come around here, and that's flesh. They need a reaction. I don't care about no reaction. Because I'm gonna say what he say, go on about my business. So verse 4 goes into he gave Peninnah and his wife portion, but he gave a worthy portion to Hannah. So watch this. Just because somebody, see, you think that just because somebody better than you, that God honors them more than you. You think because you see, they say, "Ooh, I serve God," and you see the Maybach, you see the 4-bedroom house, you see the custom cars and designer clothes, and you over here and roaches running on your walls and your blinds tore up and mold all in your house. You think they living better than you. They got to work 4 jobs to keep that. You work 1 and go to sleep. Now, let's bag that up. How can you live in a house with roaches running everywhere and your blinds all tore up and the walls dirty and the bed? Listen here. That's what's wrong with this generation. Mama turned on them blues on Saturday morning. Everybody get your ass out the bed. You washing walls, you washing baseboard, you washing that refrigerator, you sweeping these floors, you mopping. Your house clean. What's with these today's women that don't know how to clean house? Before I got married, y'all know I tell the truth. Before I got married, I used to go around these girls' house. These girls be fine out as all that dough. But when they invite you over, you finna hit it. You go in there, you look in their house, and you know how us men is. We just gonna hold our nose and we gonna get that thing. We ain't even breathing. Hey man, remember that girl at the club, man? I went over her house was so nasty. And we laughing about it. He said, but I told that thing else. Why men do that? Y'all some nasty old thing. I'm guilty too, though. House nasty, but we gonna get it. We may not be back. Why you don't come around no more? Nah, I don't think it's working out. That's just a side note. Clean your house. I'm glad my wife clean up. Now she get on me. And that would bother me too. She gets on me sometimes for not helping, cause I know how to clean up. Now every time now and then I do something. Ain't nothing wrong with a man cleaning up. Now we got a dishwasher now. I used to be the dishwasher. What you mean you got children walking around here ain't doing chores? Mama used to make me pull that chair up against that sink, stand in that sink, and I'm 3 and 4 years old. And she watching. Now you missed the spot. So stop thinking people living better than you because it see they got more than you. Because for many of them, what you see is a counterfeit. Because how can you go into fast and go Hebrew corner store and you get $20 on pump 3, but you get your how much that Louis Vuitton purse and wallet up there? 45. Okay, I want that too. Louis Vuitton is not sold in the grocery in gas stations. In the flea market, they got a store. What you telling yourself? What I see around me looks like it had value, so I got to seem like I got value because I feel unvalued. That was how Hannah felt. I don't have a child, so I'm worthless. I don't have a ministry, so I'm worthless. I don't want a husband. I don't have a husband, I'm worthless. I don't have a wife, I'm worthless. I don't have a job. Just because you don't have what you think you need, that don't mean you ain't worthless. I run a business. My wife just left out here, and she'll tell you, I run a business. Don't think Brother Hubbard got it all together. I be wanting mine. I told the lady finally sent me my money. It was never $65, but I want it. Because that $65 you owe me and that $85 they owe me, okay, you paid the 85. I want the 65 because my store where I park my trailers at, that's 140 something. So I need all that because boom, I'm gonna go pay my storage when you get there. All right. So I be telling my wife, don't they understand on they payday, they want to get paid? But the grass man, just screw him. When people work for you, pay people. If people got their business, pay people when they get through. I shouldn't have to wonder when I'm gonna get paid. I always been like that because I be wanting my. You know what my fear is? I be telling my wife, I say, hey, I don't want to die and somebody owe me. I want mine. I'd rather for somebody to steal it out of my pocket when I'm dying, then I'm dead, then I die and somebody owe me. Because if you don't steal it and my wife find it in my pocket, whatever she do with it, they do with it. Whatever the ambulance driver, because you know some of y'all steal off the job. Whatever they do with it, do with it. So he gave Hannah a worthy portion. But the Lord has shut up her womb. Watch this. Stop letting people give you something out of guilt. I got somebody now sent me a text message. Brother Hubbard, can you send me a few dollars, please? I ain't got a chance to text him back, but I am in a minute. I asked you why you was homeless. You said God got me in this trial and I'm going to stick it out no matter what. You talking to a man that been homeless twice. If God got you in a trial, an occasion God had told me to bless this particular person. If God got you in a trial and he wants somebody to bless you, like I always do to somebody I say, hey, God told me to give you this. Just like some of y'all will come to me, hey, I think God told me to give you this. But when you ask me for a blessing, God didn't put you there. Y'all remember that now. Because if God got you in a trial, that trial is designed to test you in all areas of your life, especially in providing. So if you hungry, you ain't got nowhere to lay your head. You ain't got nowhere to stay. You better make the most of it. Because when I was homeless and I'm praying, I said, God, I wish I had somewhere to lay my head. Because I had my eyes closed, laying on a park bench, and I never forget this. He said, open your eyes. And I opened, I seen it. He said, as long as you see them stars, you at home. I said, dang. I stopped asking for somewhere to stay. I said, okay, God, I know you're doing something, whatever going on. See, y'all want to come to a place where you think God got you in a trial, but you want to make your trial comfortable. You want to sit back and cut that steak over. Girl, God trying me, and I'm gonna make it out of it. It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad because the trial probably ain't started yet. See, a lot of us, because we have no real relationship with God, we call things the enemy. Be careful of what you call the enemy. Because see here, he gave Hannah more because he thought Hannah couldn't produce. And Hannah couldn't produce because it said the Lord has shed up her womb. See, a lot of times, y'all trying to make something happen that don't need to be happening. I got to get this money no matter what. I got to get this job no matter what. I got to get. How you know God ain't trying to cut? How you know he ain't trying to cut you back? How you know? See, you got to get it no matter what because you ain't got no relationship with God to say, okay, dude, I got up this morning to go do one of my commercial clients. When I got in the truck, he said, you ain't cutting no grass today. Go do such and such and such. He said, go wash your truck because I hit a buzzard yesterday. That sucker, it still left him. He couldn't even scrub the mark off my dumb window. I'm glad it didn't bust the windshield. Watch this. Suppose you wake up on your way to, and say you're on your way to work and you get in your car and God tell you don't go to work. Most of y'all gonna say, that ain't God. I need this money. God ain't gonna tell me to miss no work. This will be my last warning. You love that job more than you love God's instruction. And for many of you, because you violated God's instruction, what you're about to go through is gonna be of God, but you're gonna say it's the enemy. And verse 6, and her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. And as he did so year by year, as she went to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to Hannah, why weepest thou, and why eatest thou not, and why is thy heart grieved? Am I not better to thee than 10 sons? See, watch this. She's still going to the house of the Lord, but when she get in the house of the Lord, that's where the adversary provoke her at. You know what that means? Many of you going into church, know your enemy in church, and you allow them to get under your skin. Year by year by year. How can you go to a church 30 years, but you still hate one person? Boy, I think I was about 19 years old. My mama wasn't no joke. St. Joseph Baptist Church, Birmingham, Alabama. I never forget. This lady kept provoking my mama. We went to church that Sunday. My mama seen this lady. Mama caught her on the side of those pews. Do you know what mama did? In church. My mama beat her down. Bow, 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 bow. I'm 10 years old. I'm watching. Anybody getting in, and guess what Brother Hubbard gonna do? Watch this. Sometimes you just got. I was telling my mama something the other day. Mama love God more now. She tell me stuff, but mama said sometimes you gotta let a nigga know you ain't nothing to play with. Now I ain't telling y'all to catch me in church, but if you don't like somebody, go to them. And for a lot of you, the reason your womb crawled up, is closed up, or meaning the reason God is not producing through you is because you still hate people. You don't like sister so and so. Me and my wife were having a discussion the other day. Something I said to her, and I say, see, that's not none of me. And somehow we got on, and she said, you got to treat people how you want to be treated. I heard what she said. That's how the world do it. You know what this Bible say? Be kind to those that despitefully use you. I'm not treating people how I want to be treated. I'm going to treat them like this word say treat. And for a lot of y'all want to feed people with long handled spoons. Y'all want to forgive but not forget. But God said be nice to them in spite of how they treat you. I just helped somebody. That's why a lot of you are not, your prayers ain't get answered. When you forgive but not forget, don't you know you still harboring a spirit of unforgiveness? When you treating people with that long handled spoon, don't you know you putting distance between you and God answering your prayers? While we were yet sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. He didn't die for you to forgive and not forget and stick that long handled spoon out there. He died so it's forgiven. He said he throwed it in the sea of forgiveness. So why you still mad at your mom? Why you still mad at your daddy? Yeah, your uncle raped you. Get over it. Turn it into a testimony. Yeah, your sister slept with your husband. Get over it. Yeah, he tricked you out your panties and you got pregnant the first night. Get over it. Because you cannot live in this day and time and harbor unforgiveness. Do you see the evil coming? Down here in Tallahassee, man knocked on the door. It was one of my wife's students. The 10-year-old opened the door, asking for a phone charge or something that the story goes. He goes in the house. The children hide. When the man of the house come on, he shoot the man and he run out the house. Some lady cut open her child's stomach, ate her liver. Out down in Alabama, some man that shot and killed this girl because she wouldn't talk to him. Can you get into heaven with unforgiveness? See, y'all keep letting people provoke y'all because you want people to know that you from the south side of Chicago. I was raised in the hood, you know. It ain't what y'all say. It ain't in me. I'm still alive. I'm gonna clap back. You ain't dead yet if you gonna clap back. You know how many people that did stuff to me that I don't say nothing about? I don't care about that mess. The Bible says vengeance is mine. Sometimes the best vengeance is despite the lies that told on you, despite what you going through, that you still that you got you got the power to wake up every morning. Half of you, when you wake up, you don't even thank God for waking you up. Watch this. So Abner in verse 8 said, why you crying? Why you ain't eating? Why your heart grieve? Am I not better than you? See, watch this. Just because a person provide for you, ain't no reason to make you happy. Just because a person provide, don't mean they happy. Everybody go through something. It's what you do while you going through something that determines who you are in God. Verse 9 says, so Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by the post of the temple of the Lord, and she was in bitterness of soul. Oh, this is going to be a good one right here. And prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou would indeed look on the affliction of thy handmaid, and remember me and not forget thy handmaid, but would give unto thy handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord in all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spoke in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. This finna be good right here. So now, because she couldn't mourn in peace, because she couldn't eat, because he decided really stop that self-loathing, get up and eat. So watch this. She went and ate. And she went to church. And the preacher was there. And it said she was crying out to God. And the preacher seen her mouth and asked her, how long would thou be drunken? Put away that wine. You know what's wrong with a lot of y'all? Just like her. You in a church and your leader don't know nothing about you. You in a church and they don't know when you going through. If I never prophesy or teach another word, one thing I can thank God for, if that many of the people that came to me, when they going through, Brother Hubbard, pick up the phone. I don't care what they're doing. Why you over there masturbating? Why you sad? Why you lying? You know you shouldn't have did that. If your leader can't do you like that, you in the wrong house. That's what's wrong with her. So instead of speaking a blessing of her life, he thought she was drunk. How you leading the people and you can't tell when they going through something? You know the saddest thing about being a leader? That sometimes you can tell everything about what's going on with a stranger. But yet, God sometimes allow you to be blind in your own house. Her soul was bitter. See, because she didn't understand why God closed her womb, she begging for the womb to be open. Because God allowed the fight between you and your sister, now y'all don't speak. You don't know what the fight was for. You know what's wrong with the church? And I can say this with the utmost confidence. 95% of the church don't hear the voice of God. They praying and answering with a made up mind, which means they talking to themselves. They don't understand that you every now and then you got to make sure God hear you. Y'all remember I used to tell y'all that sometime when I get confused on something that's very dear to me, I used to park my trailer, and if it bagged right back up to it on the first try, I took that as confirmation. You know why I do that? because people don't know what I go through, and certain people I know really don't hear the voice of God. Why would I give godly information to carnal people to give me carnal advice? But God took that away from me when I got my new truck. But watch what I did yesterday. I was thinking about something. One of the daycares I could don't have their keys labeled. It's like 5 keys and 1 key different, but I know what that key go through because it's a different key. But all the rest of them is the same kind of key, but they each go to a different lock. I said, God, I'm trying to do this, and that. I said, if I open this gate with the first key, that's you telling me to go ahead. It's like 5 keys. I looked at that key, I took that key, I stuck that key in there, I turned it, the gate open. That's okay, God, I'm gonna do that. Why am I sharing that? Some of the things that you prayed about and you thought God told you was okay, it wasn't God, it was you. You need to go back and revisit your decision because you heading toward a brick wall. And see, for many of you, when y'all heard the prophetic word for 2023, I say anything you love, be willing to lose it. And if you can't lose it, you don't love it. If I call you and tell you what God told me to tell you, you don't take what I tell you, put it in your feelings because you want something so bad, you willing to manipulate the word of God to get it. I'm scared of you. I'm not like everybody. If I lose my wife and she won't leave, bye. If my sons want to leave, bye. My brothers, sisters, mama, bye. I had to come to a point that nothing that I have obtained or got is more important than what God want me to do. Y'all bend the rule for what you love. This what Hannah did. Because had she prayed to God for understanding instead of give me, you know what she did it? She wanted a child so bad. This is what y'all mentioned in the scripture. She wanted a child so bad. Watch this. That she'll have a child that she'll never have. Because if you read the story, time she had it, she gave it to Eli. She didn't watch it grow. She didn't get a chance to really nurture it. She didn't get a chance to bond with it. You got to be careful of what you pray for in a spirit, of depression. She prayed for a child so much. Read the scripture. That when she had it, she couldn't even have it. She gave it away. Because all she wanted to do was to show people I can produce. That's why a lot of your ministries ain't growing. Because you just want to show people you can preach. You want to show people you got a degree. You want to show people your new outfit. You want to show people you hear God. And it still ain't growing. I bet you won't go to your leader and ask him what you're going through. I'm going to pray about it and get back with you. And for some of y'all still waiting on to get back with you. So Eli thought she was drunk. And see, that's wrong with a lot of y'all. You so depressed that people don't understand your pain. People don't supposed to understand your pain. And for a lot of you, the reason that you're having painful things now is because you want people to feel what you feel. it won't work. If you try to hurt Brother Hubbard, like if I hurt you, you know it won't work, don't you? You know what I be doing? Eat my bowl of frosted flakes, looking at you. I said, look at this dumb fool. Because you spending more time trying to show me how you gonna hurt me, and I don't even care. I'm laughing. And Hannah answered and said, verse 15, no, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thy handmaid, I missed that, I'm going to go back to it, for a daughter of Baal. For out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken here too. Then Eli answered, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou had asked of him. See, notice she kept saying handmaid. In other words, she kept saying your servant. Why y'all going to God in prayer talking about I'm a strong black woman? I'm a queen. I'm chief apostle. You go to God as a servant. You'll never be, thank you, Holy Spirit. You'll never be more than God, but you can be equal to him because we made it in his image and his likeness. You notice it didn't give us his mind. So he said, don't mistake me for a daughter of Bella. And see, for a lot of you, your leaders are mistaking you because they want what they can produce in you and not what God can produce in you. That's why it's dangerous for y'all to go around people talking about they birthing me out. Only thing brought this out is the Holy Spirit. I see you're a prophet. I'm gonna teach you how to be a prophet. Suppose God didn't call you to be a prophet. Suppose you have a prophetic spirit, but you're not a prophet. See, y'all around here, because of religion, of course, and the spirit of tradition, and the spirit of nostalgia, you go try to find somebody to birth you out. Now you in a cohumdrum. You in a fix. Cause now you a spiritual daughter. You're a spiritual son. They got all these children. But they never can tell when you going through, but they always know when you give. But Dietrich, ain't nothing wrong with being a spiritual child. Paul said it. That's what Paul started out with. So yeah, Paul called Timothy his son. But Paul came to an understanding as he grew in revelation. Paul also called Timothy his brother. Paul also called Timothy his co-laborer in the gospel. Paul came to a point, this man my equal, he not beneath me. When people tell you you're spiritual soldiers and done, they keeping you beneath them. Because when they gonna call you a co-laborer? Why they got to introduce my spiritual daughter? You don't see Paul doing my spiritual son Timothy. He said co-labor in the gospel. See, I got to watch this Bible. They let you know the way Paul thought went of God because he changed his perception of Timothy to him as he grew in God and as Timothy grew in God. Why are you still a spiritual, known as a spiritual child 20 years later? How you got spiritual children and invite them to stay in your house and your own child sleeping outside? The Bible says something about taking care of your own house first, don't it? I think it's in there somewhere. I ain't sure because y'all rewrite this thing so much. So I got to know which one I'm reading from. But that's religion for you. That's what religion do. It keeps you beneath people because you want to be above people. See, that's why they teach you in religion, you can't go no higher than your leader. But I read somewhere, he said it ain't robbery to be equal with God. So if your leader ain't raised the dead, ain't walked on water, ain't made the blind see, the lame walk, the deaf talk, you right. I don't want to go higher than them. I want to pass them because evidently they ain't did nothing. My mark is Jesus, not somebody sitting up there talking about I'm pastor. It's a shame to say this. I done preached in a lot of places, and I always notice the people in the pews were more powerful than the leaders leading them. But because you only got a spirit, I don't know why we're getting on this. Some of y'all might need to hear it. You only got two spirits that operate in the church: spirit of superiority and inferiority. And if somebody in position can always make you inferior, you'll always look at them superior. And then you'll always see yourself as inferior. I never tell people that they can't go no higher than me. I got two now. And they'll tell you if they was around me. I said, boy, you're going to be bad when God turns you loose. Some of them send me revelation. I just be sitting here with my mouth open. I said, boy, they're going to be bad. I said, boy, you can go farther than me. Watch this. Even Christ, as much as he didn't he tell the disciples greater works you're going to do? Don't that mean they're going to do more than Christ did? And all he did was tough. But they said, y'all can't go no higher than your leader. That's religion. That's church fables. Come to think of it, I did more than any leader I set up on. It was them about 7. And they not one have achieved more than me. Because I sit there and look at them something. Now one may have traveled more than me, but not a one achieved more than me. I done went past them all. And then when I look at the people who say it wasn't God, they still in the same church, doing the same thing, under the same leader, sitting in the same place, listening to the same thing. No growth. Y'all better break free. So even though Eli didn't understand that she was in depression, he still spoke a blessing. Watch out for leaders who speak a blessing but have no understanding. Because see, if she knew what she prayed for, he should have said, okay, you praying for a child, you said you're gonna give it to God. Don't you want to raise your child? Don't you want to be able to bathe your child? She had this child and gave him to Eli. We all know he was called Samuel was called to pronounce the curse over Eli's house. We know that when you go into it. Verse 18, and she said, let thy handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went away and did eat, and her countenance was no more. And they rose up early in the morning and worshiped before the Lord, and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah, his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Watch this. Even though he spoke a word with no understanding, his words still carry power. That's why you as prophetic people, you got to watch what you say and how you say it. The Bible tells us the power of life and death in our tongue. So all it took was one word for her countenance to change. Then she went home and Edna gave her a little pipe. He gave some still Peter. That what knew his wife mean. He had sex with her, in other words. So watch this. Whatever storm you in, it didn't come to you by mistake. The Bible said the Lord don't put more on us than we can bear. The reason we don't bear it because we don't know the Lord in it. We want to go find a. I'm about to lose my house. We got to go find a prayer partner. We want to go to the church and ask for assistance. Maybe God wants you to lose your house. Oh, that ain't God. I'm about to lose my job. What am I gonna do? Pray for me. The devil trying to check my God. Suppose God don't want you working no more. See, that's why I live my life so much in peace. If I lose everything I got, God still God. If God gives me nothing else, God still God. Because see, the storms I went through, I understood now why I had to go through it. Shoot, I just said some of the most terrible things I ever could say to my wife a few days ago because of how I felt. Man, she got back on me, you know how it is. But watch this. I had to go through it because when I came to the end of it, I came back to God. I said, "Well, God, why I do that?" And He told me why. So even though the storm was bad, it came good because I'm still growing. See, you can't allow what you don't like or what you don't love no more cause you to miss showing the love of God. Because for many of us, because we spend so much time trying to look like the world, we don't understand what the love of God really is. We don't love people according to 1 Corinthians 13. That 13 no more. We love people because if they got a six pack, a fat butt, and a nice bank account. But that First Corinthians, we as believers, we got to get to this kind of love. What it say, 1 Corinthians 13 for? Love suffers long. What you mean you done fell out of love with your husband? You fell out of love with your wife. You don't love them no more, but you care for them. Love suffers long and is kind. It say love envy it not. What you mean somebody else's relationship is relationship goal for your marriage? Why if you see somebody treating their husband or wife bad, now I won't treat my husband, my wife like that? That's envy. What you mean? She ain't even fixed her husband plate yet. I wouldn't do my husband like that. He ain't bought his wife no 10-carat ring. I wouldn't buy my wife. I wouldn't give my wife that little ring. God's love have no envy. Love faulted not itself. What you mean telling your husband or your wife, I don't think you love me enough? We talking about this first. We talking about the type of love Paul talking about. If you love me, you'll do this. If you love me, you'll do that. Love is not puffed up. Girl, I know my man loved me. He went and bought me that new BMW. He gave me a $500, a $5,000 shopping spree. Love don't tell what love do. It ain't puffed up. Why you on the phone bragging about what your husband and wife? Girl, we got in that bedroom and boy, I did some of the things I ain't gonna. You don't tell nobody how you love. That's what called envy. Now you talking about how big his Johnson is. Now every time he come in the room, they trying to get a peek. And now they slide notes. Now he's screwing your friend and you mad at her. Keep your mouth closed. Or he's screwing your friend because of what y'all know how it go. These new women, they don't care about you being married. They ain't gonna tell. Verse 5. Love does not behave itself unseemly. How you love your husband and you cussing him out in public? Cause how you love your wife and you jumping on her in public, calling all kind of B's and H's. Love don't act like that. Love seeketh not her own. That's the best one ever. Well, you don't love me how I want to be loved, so you don't love me. Paul said love don't seek his own. You don't know what love is. You got to tell somebody how to love you. That ain't love. Love is not easily provoked. Well, I slapped you because you made me mad. I cussed you out because you shouldn't have did that. Love thinketh no evil. Soon as that nigga go to sleep, I'ma pour bleach all over his clothes. Yeah, as soon as I see that other nigga over there, I'ma go in there with my gun. I'ma kick that door in. We talking about love now. God's love. Love rejoices not in iniquity. We're good for them. They should have got caught. That should have happened. See, y'all don't have that agape love. Agape love says, no matter what, I'm still there. Ain't no love in the church, so ain't no love in the world because the world in the church. That's all that happened to Hannah. She didn't feel love or God's love because she couldn't produce what she saw somebody else produce. And for many of you, you got to understand, just because you're not producing what somebody else produced, don't mean God don't love you. Brother Hubbard ain't got no big church. No thou. Well, I used to, I used to be out there, but I got married. I don't do as much as I used to do. But just because I don't have no big church and all this TV time, Brother Hubbard been on TV. Brother Hubbard been on radio. Brother Hubbard had his own TV show. Brother Hubbard had his own radio. And all I got to do, wherever that laptop is, all I got to do is push a button and I'm back online. That's all I got to do. It ain't even hard. But God just showed me something. I did all that. It didn't mean nothing to me. Not in a way that I keep it. Now I like the people and the feedback and all that. But he just want me to experience it, because if you don't use it in the right way, you ain't producing anyway. So just because you got a lot of followers, just because you got a lot of likes, just because you get a lot of shares, don't mean you produce it. Because to me, I like quality over quantity. Stop looking at what somebody else going through and you don't understand what you going through. Listen here. I'm gonna go wash my other truck. I'll be back. Y'all be blessed. Have a good day. I hope I said something to enlighten you this good morning. And I'll see you later.